the association of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the transcendental world. So how can one be consistent and determined in devotional service? By following the rules and regulations. That's Srila Prabhupada's answer to this question. Many rules and regulations have been given for us, and nobody likes to follow rules and regulations. It's a botheration. We would rather just be doing whatever our mind says. We would rather like to be doing just whatever we feel like doing at any given point in time. But Srila Prabhupada says here, no. If you want to be with Krishna in the spiritual world eventually, then you have to prepare yourself. You have to be very determined. And the determination comes from following that routine, that discipline. Without discipline, one cannot achieve success in anything. Look at anybody who is great, a great musician, a great sportsman. Could they have achieved that greatness without discipline, without practice? It's not possible. You know, these Olympic athletes and the football players, how hard they have to practice. They give up everything else, all the pleasures of life. And their coach keeps a hawk's eye on them. Doesn't allow them to eat this, eat that, go there, no, they don't allow them. They're just grilled and they're put through such a punishing routine. But the difference is that for us the routine is not punishing. As Prabhupada mentions in the purport here, devotional service is happily performed. Susukham kartum avyayam. So even though we follow the discipline, but it doesn't appear to be burdensome. It is very joyous. It's a very joyful process. So we come in Kirtan. It's a happy thing. We read the Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita. We feel very happy reading it. We worship the deity of the Lord. It gives us great happiness. We wake up early in the morning. Is that happiness? Yes. But you have to sleep early, of course. Then you can wake up early. So these are the different ways in which we discipline ourselves and become more consistent. And once you make it a habit, then the consistency comes naturally. There are different proverbs in different parts of the world. Some proverbs say, if you do something for 12 consecutive days, it becomes a habit. You do something for 30 consecutive days, it becomes a habit. So we need not quibble about whether it's 12 or 30. But the point is, if you do something every day to start with, even if you don't feel like doing it, just do it. Then it will become a habit. And then the consistency will be so much easier to have in one's devotional life. So let me tell you some stories about some Mahatmas and how they were consistently doing something, even at the cost of great physical inconvenience, and how Krishna recognized them as Mahatmas and showered his mercy upon them. I'll tell you two stories. Actually, they're very similar in some sense. One is the story of a great devotee called Puntanam. He lived in the southern Indian state of Kerala. And he was a great devotee of Krishna who is known as Guru Vayurappan. It's a very famous temple in South India, in Kerala. A famous temple of Krishna. Anybody from South India here? You have heard of Guru Vayurappan? Yeah. Famous, all the people from Kerala have surely heard of him. So very, very famous temple, just like Tirupati and Udupi and Dwarka. So this temple is also very famous, the deity of Krishna. So this Puntanam, he also wrote many devotional poems. He was a great poet, a great devotee. He lived far away from Guru Vayur. which is the place where this temple is. And at certain periods, he would walk all the way to Guruvayur just to take darshan of the Lord. And in those days, there were no means of transport. So you just had to walk. And sometimes you had to probably cross through dangerous forests and so on. So Puntanam used to make this arduous journey every time that he had to visit. I don't remember the frequency with which he visited, but he was doing it very consistently, very regularly. He just decided, I must take darshan of the Lord, every whatever period that it was. Naturally, it wasn't possible for him to do it very frequently because he lived very far away. But anyway, he would do that. One time, what happened was, as he was going along, he was accosted by some dacoits. And these dacoits then took away everything from him. He had a little bit of money. He wasn't very wealthy anyway. So they took away his money. They took away whatever possessions he had. But he was hiding one thing in a little pouch. And that was actually his copy of the Srimad Bhagavatam, which he used to love reading. So he begged them. He said, please, let me keep at least this book. Let me, this is of no value to you. So let me keep it. So they were saying, no. He also had a gold ring. So they took away that gold ring as well. Now, suddenly at that time, one man came along who was passing through the forest. And he seemed like a very cultured young man who was passing through. And he saw this happening. And he was very courageous. So he himself confronted the dacoits and drove them away. And he took everything that the dacoits had stolen from Puntanam. So Puntanam was very happy and grateful. So he wanted to reward this young man with something. So he said, I don't have much to reward you, I don't have much money, etc. But you saved my life, you saved my valuable Srimad Bhagavatam. So all I can give you is my gold ring. So please take this ring with you. And this is my little token of appreciation for what you have done. So that man took the gift and went away. And then Puntanam continued his journey to Guruvayur. And he reached. And when he reached for darshan, of course the temple was closed. So he rested the night in the town. And the next morning he came to have darshan. Now in that night, the pujari had a dream. And Guruvayurappan, Lord Krishna, he appeared to the pujari in a dream and told him that, look, a certain devotee of mine, very exalted devotee called Puntanam, is going to come here. I want you to give this ring to him, which I'll keep at a certain place, which I was wearing. So the pujari woke up. It wasn't a ring that was there in the treasury of the temple, which they would put for the Lord. But since he found it at the designated place where the Lord had indicated in the dream, so then he took that ring and he was waiting to see this glorious devotee, Puntanam. So then when Puntanam came, he identified him and he said, look, the Lord has instructed me to give you this ring. And Puntanam was astonished. Why was he astonished? Because it was the same ring. It was his own ring, which he had given to that young man who had come and rescued him from the dacoits. So who was that young man? Krishna. And why was Krishna doing that? Why was Krishna reciprocating with him like this? Because all his life he had continued to visit Guruvayur for darshan of Krishna. religiously, with great determination, consistently doing it. He never gave up, whatever happened. So Krishna reciprocates. Krishna feels very grateful and very happy when a devotee follows a certain principle and keeps doing it, day after day. Sometimes devotees feel discouraged. I've been chanting now for certain number of years and still I don't get some ecstasy. I don't feel all sorts of transcendental symptoms that we hear in the scriptures. I don't feel that. But the point is, we shouldn't expect to see it so soon. We should just keep on following these rules. Chanting a 16 rounds, keep doing it every day. Having darshan of the Lord, do it every day. Reading the Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, keep doing it. And at the end, there's a very sweet fruit, a very nice gift waiting for us at the end of the day. So Puntanam got this special mercy. And this reminds me of another great devotee. And I was narrating this to the children at our manor school just yesterday or day before. It is a story of a great devotee who lived in Gujarat, and his name was Bodhana. How many of you have heard of Bodhana? Yes. How many of you know the story of Bodhana? Okay. So this is also an instructive story. Bodhana also, he would travel to Dwarka every 6 months. He lived in a place called Dakor, which is somewhere between Baroda and Ahmedabad, yes, in Gujarat. And those of you who are familiar with a little geography, you know that if you want to walk from there to Dwarka, it's not like going from here to the neighborhood grocer. It's a long walk. And he didn't have his Porsche or his Jaguar or anything. They had no other means of transport. And he did that even as he was a young boy. He started doing it. And every 6 months, religiously, he would make that long journey. And he would carry Tulsi Maharani, Tulsi, the pot, flower pot with Tulsi in it. And he would carry and walk. He would stay there it would take days and days to walk. You can imagine, it was a long journey. Then he would stay there, have darshan of Lord Dwarkadhish, and then he would come back, again undertaking that long, arduous journey. So he consistently did this all his life. One time, when he was 72 years old, he had already done this journey twice a year for more than maybe 60 years. Yes? Imagine, that's something. But he was getting old now. But still he was determined, I'm not going to give it up. I will go and take darshan of Dwarkadhish every 6 months. So he continued, Dridhavrata, with his vow, with determination, he continued. So when he reached Dwarka and he came in front of Dwarkadhish, Dwarkadhish spoke to him and said, Bodhana, you are very old now. And you're coming walking all the way from Dakor to see me. And my heart breaks to see the difficulties you have to endure in coming such a long way by foot just to see me. So why don't you bring your ox cart, your bullock cart the next time you come? Now Bodhana was a poor man. So he had a bullock, but it was very old. He had a cart, again very rickety, very old. He said, okay, next time I'll come with my bullock cart and I'll come back with you to Dakor. Dwarkadhish told him. So he said, how is that possible? How are you going to come back leaving the temple and the altar and just, are you going to jump into my cart and come? So naturally Bodhana didn't take it so seriously, but he also was thinking Krishna can do anything. So anyway, so the next time, 6 months later that he came, he remembered what Krishna had told him. So he came with his rickety old bullock cart and his old bull, the ox, who was staggering, hardly able to walk properly. And they came. So all the pujaris in the Dwarkadish temple knew Bodhana very well, because he had been coming for 60 to 65 years, every year twice. So this time he came on the ox cart. So they asked him, Bodhana, why have you come on a bullock cart this time? And some of them were joking with him and pulling his leg. And in all seriousness, Bodhana answered, because Krishna asked me to. And Krishna wants to come with me on my bullock cart back to Dakor. And they made fun of him and laughed at him. But some of them were thinking in their minds, you know, this Krishna, you never know what this Krishna does. He is, very mischievous, and he is very unpredictable, this Krishna. And what if what this Bodhana is saying is true? After all, he is a special devotee, undoubtedly. Now, many of these pujaris were sincere devotees, but some of them were not. Some of them were a little materialistic, and they were more concerned with how much dakshina they would get in the temple, and then how they would maintain their families and so on. So they were thinking, it's going to be very difficult for us if the deity goes away. So they locked the temple doors and the doors of the altar, etc., very securely, more so than on normal days, because they wanted to ensure that Krishna would not leave. But can ordinary locked doors prevent Krishna from leaving if he wants to leave? No. Do you remember any other instance? When Krishna walked out of locked doors? Mathura. When he was born, at that time, he told Vasudeva, his father, please take me across the Yamuna to Gokul and leave me at the house of Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj. And Vasudeva was thinking, my hands and feet are tied with iron chains. The doors are securely fastened with iron chains and all sorts of latches and bolts and so on. How can I possibly take you? But he had implicit faith in the words of Krishna, who had appeared before Vasudeva and Devaki in a four-armed form. So he took baby Krishna, placed him in a little basket, put him on his head, and his shackles automatically opened, and the doors also automatically opened, and Vasudeva walked through, and then he crossed the Yamuna and went. So for Krishna to cross these material barriers is not at all difficult. So in this case as well, when night fell, Bodhana was sleeping in his bullock cart. Of course, they didn't have any hotels and all sorts of things. And people were very simple. So when they went, they would probably sleep in some place. Maybe they go to somebody's house. People would offer hospitality like this. Hospitality meant you just gave somebody lodging and boarding in your house very happily when he was a devotee of Krishna. Nowadays, of course, it's very risky because they might clean up your house, clean it more than you want it to be cleaned. I know a family in Melbourne or Sydney, one of the two, and their friends, they left the town for about a week or so for a holiday, and when they came back, they found their apartment completely clean, not a pin in the house. Every single piece of furniture, the cupboards, the decorative items, the cooking paraphernalia, everything was cleaned, not a pin to be found. And they must have come with a huge truck and gone out, taken in style, in front of everybody. Theft in plain sight. Because everybody must have thought, they're just moving or something like that. Because you don't know your neighbors anyway. Right? That's how the culture is. So, anyway, so Bodhana was there lying on his cart. So Dwarkadhish, the deity, came out and he woke up Bodhana. Hey Bodhana, wake up. Bodhana woke up. So what? He couldn't believe his eyes. There was Dwarkadhish standing in front of him. And he's saying, who are you? Who do you think I am? You? How can you come from outside the temple inside like that? How did you come from the altar and come here to me? Well, I came. I told you last year when you came that I will come with you back in your bullock cart and I will come to Dakor. He said, really? You mean it? He said, yes. So Bodhana was flustered. He said, all right. So then he hurried. He didn't think about what the pujaris would say. What Krishna was doing was enough for him. So he started riding the bullock cart. But he was old. His bullock was old. His cart was old. So they were progressing really slowly. So Krishna told him, okay Bodhana, you come here, I'll come in front. And I'll take charge and you just sleep. You must be tired. So then Bodhana came back and Krishna took charge of the bullock cart. And as Bodhana slept, when he woke up, he found they were already near Dakor. Krishna doesn't have to obey the formalities of the laws of material nature. He can go anywhere he likes, anyhow he likes, at any speed he likes. He is not constrained by anything material. So, they were outside the town of Dakor. And at that time, he woke up Bodhana and said, okay Bodhana, we're almost at Dakor now. Now you take over again. So Bodhana woke up and he said, my word, so quickly. It took me days to reach Dwarka from Dakor, even on my bullock cart. And you just got it in one night, in just a few hours. So then Krishna simply smiled. And the deity was in the bullock cart. The deity was standing naturally. And they passed by a neem tree. You heard of neem, right? It's a very bitter plant, but it's considered an auspicious plant. So what the Lord did, the deity, he just plucked a few leaves of that from a branch that was hanging down. And he plucked a few leaves and he ate them. And then the cart moved on. Incidentally, this tree, it is said, and normally a neem fruit or neem leaf is very bitter, right? But in this tree, there is one branch in which the leaves are very sweet. There is some Gujarati saying, I forget what it is. Limrana ek dal meethi, ranchor rangila, something like that. What is it?
Yeah,
say?
something like that.
Something. Limrana ek dal meethi and something. So this neem tree has one sweet branch. And so they were glorifying Ranchod because the deity there is called Ranchod Rai. So Ranchod Rangila. So that's how, so this neem tree, that's a very famous neem tree of that area. When I went to Dakor last time, nobody seemed to know where that neem tree was or where that branch was. They showed some neem tree, but anyway. So, and then when they reached Dakor, so by which time, early morning, the pujaris in Dwarka had woken up and they'd gone and opened the altar, and what did they see? They didn't see anything. There was no deity. The deity was missing. So then they put two and two together. This Bodhana must have taken Krishna away. So they got onto the horses. They had some horses, and then they swiftly rode to Dakor, and they caught up. Meanwhile, obviously Bodhana was getting anxious, and he was thinking that now these pujaris are going to come. So seeing his anxiety, Dwarkadhish told Bodhana, why don't you hide me in this water tank here? There was a small little pond, a tank called Gomati tank. So put me there inside and hide me. So then he did that. And soon enough, furiously riding on the horses, these pujaris came with some soldiers and everything, because it was a major crisis. The deity is missing, stolen. So they came and they caught hold of Bodhana, and they said, where is the deity? He said, I don't know. Krishna must have tutored him. I don't know where. So then they were looking here, they searched his house, they couldn't find the deity, they were looking all around. And then one of them said, let's try in this tank, water tank. So one of the soldiers put his spear inside, and all of a sudden the water turned red, because he struck the deity. He struck the Murti, the Sri Vigraha of Dwarkadhish, of Krishna, who was inside. And immediately they all panicked and said, oh my God, what happened? Then they understood that the deity was inside. So then they brought the deity out. And then the soldiers and the pujaris were very angry. And one of the soldiers threw his spear at Bodhana. It struck him on the chest and he died. But then naturally, Bodhana was taken to the spiritual world by Krishna. He wasn't an ordinary soul. Krishna came all the way, hitchhiked, and came with him from Dwarka to Dakor. He was a very special soul. So Bodhana went back. Meanwhile, the pujaris and soldiers from Dwarka wanted to take the deity back. And the deity told him, no, I want to stay here. So, what do you mean you want to stay here? What's going to happen to us? He said, no, but there has to be something, because some of these pujaris were a little greedy. So they wanted more. What about our livelihood? What about our maintenance? Who's going to look after our families? We are Brahmins and we maintain ourselves by the dakshina that people give when they come to visit, pilgrims. He said, okay, the Lord struck a deal with them. We'll have a weighing scale, and you put me on one pan, and as much gold as is equal to my weight will come on the other pan, and you take that much gold with you, and then that will be enough for all of you. So they were very happy. And then the deity told Bodhana's wife, who was still alive, bring gold, enough equal to my weight. She said, what? I am a very poor lady, I don't have anything at home. How can I bring all this gold? That's not possible. So then he said, go and search in your house. So she said, I know what's in my house, there's no gold there. So she went and he said, go and sweep your room. So she was sweeping her room, and then she found a little item of jewelry. There was a small little nose ring made of gold, a little wire piece, item of jewelry. And so she said, okay, this is the only thing I have that's made of gold. So she came back, but obviously the deity was big and heavy and made of stone. What will this little piece of gold do? So Krishna said, anyway, put it on the pan. He put it on the pan and it became equal. Now all the pujaris were complaining like anything else. That this is cheating. But somehow Krishna managed to pacify them. And he said, okay, don't worry. I will manifest again at such and such a place. So he mentioned the place on the outskirts of Dwarka. And he said, you go there, but after 6 months. Not now. And you excavate the place in such and such a place there, and my deity, I will manifest in my deity form, in identical form. So somehow or the other they were convinced and they went back. They waited for a while and they waited a little more, but they were getting impatient. So they decided, let's go to that place and excavate it anyway. Some people said, look, you have to wait for 6 months. He said, never mind, let's just excavate it. So they went and they excavated, and lo and behold, they got the deity of Krishna there. But because they took him out early, so he was a little smaller than the original deity. So therefore it is said that the deity of Dwarkadish today is a little smaller in size than the deity in Dakor, who is called Ranchod Rai. So this is the history of the deity at Dakor. Very famous place, Dakor. And actually Dakor is named after a sage called Danka Rishi. He performed austerities there. So after him this became known as Dankapur. And from Dankapur somehow the word got corrupted to become Dakor. Over the centuries this is very common. Like for example, Naimisharanya is the original name of a place where the Srimad Bhagavatam was spoken by Suta Goswami to the sages. But now it's called Nimsar. It's near Kanpur in India, near Ayodhya, between Kanpur and Ayodhya. So you go and ask people, where is Naimisharanya? They may not know. But the corrupted word is now Nimsar. So like that, Dankapur became Dakor. There are many holy places in that area. So anyway, the lesson we can learn from the story is how Krishna was pleased with Bodhana because he consistently went with determination every single year, twice, undertaking such a big journey, taking on so much austerity and physical difficulty. And he would go with great devotion. So he had a lot of devotion in his heart, and he never failed even in his old age to do that. This is the nature of the Mahatmas. Haridas Thakur also, even when he was old, he wouldn't give up his vow of chanting 300,000 names of Krishna every day, which is almost like 192 rounds every day. For us, 16 rounds is something that is quite heavy to do. But he would chant 192 rounds every day. And then in the remaining 2 hours that he had, or 2.5, he would do everything else, sleeping, eating, whatever. For us, it's the reverse. We do our chanting and all our devotional activities in 2 hours, and the rest of the day we do everything else we have to do. So when he was very old and unable to even physically get up,